So pissed off. So pissed off, man. What a meltdown. What a terrible weekend. We'll get to the other stuff. Oh my God, the Heat and the Panthers are freaking disasters also. But the Dolphins, Dolphins tried to ruin Christmas for you there yesterday. I hope it didn't ruin your Christmas. A lot of people may have. I hope it didn't. But man, I don't even I'm flummoxed. I don't even know what else to say. Nah, well, I mean I do, but you understand what I'm saying. I don't like, you have all kinds of emotions with the way this Dolphins season was going at first and now with the way it's going right now, and like you don't know what to do with yourself other than feel really stupid, which is how I felt. Feel so stupid that this team, I thought it was different. And everything that all the Dolphin fans are saying now, same shit. December Dolphins were 8-3 and won 0 games in December. And all the Dolphin haters have all the ammunition that they want now, that they need. And as a Dolphin fan, you gotta eat it. That's it. You gotta eat it. All the Dolphin haters have all the ammunition they need. Tua choked, hasn't beaten the good teams, and after a 5-game win streak against less than competition, the Dolphins faced 4 teams who are either very good, 49ers, Bills, Chargers, or were hot and has a lot to play for. Packers lost them all. Yeah. The haters have all the ammunition that they need. And as a Dolphin fan, you got to sit there and you got to eat it. Can't do anything about it. Can't do anything about it. And in all 4 of those games, look, you know I love Tua. I'm a Tua guy, but you got to be fair. You have to have doubts now. Especially how the season is going to end. Now, if the Dolphins go to New England and Tua has a great game and the Dolphins win, and then you come home against the Jets and Tua has a great game and the Dolphins win, and you go to the playoffs, okay. Now, but what does he do in the playoffs, ZASLOW? No. Like, let's not jump from one extreme to the next, because big picture-wise, first 2 seasons, Dolphins missed the playoffs. Tua was very up and down. Then this season overall, if the scenario that I just played out for you happens, then Tua will have had a good year, and making the playoffs is definitely a positive step. That's definitely a step in the right direction. Making the playoffs ends up being successful. Yes, expectations change throughout the season, but making the playoffs, as long as you're not backing in, you win these final 2 games, make the playoffs, this season will be a success, and then you go from there. But depending on what Tua does in these final 2 games, like next year will be year number 4, and then it's time, all right, 5th year option. You may have to pay him. I'm not sure when that ends up having to happen. It's going to be sometime after this year, right? Sometime, going into year number 4, at some point, you got to do something financially, right? Excuse me. And a 4th quarter like he just had, so the Dolphins are down 26-20 now, right? And I almost tweeted it out, to a legacy drive. Because it felt like, all right, he's had a shit 4th quarter now. He's already had 2 interceptions, but now you got a chance to march down the field. And you felt that way, pretty which was the 49ers game with the Gesicki catch, which ended up being not a catch. There were a couple games during this stretch where, Tua's got an opportunity with the game on the line to drive the team down the field, and it didn't happen. You got another opportunity now. This game. Tua, legacy drive coming up. He has not had a great second half, but you got an opportunity to kind of save the season. And second play throws an interception. Biggest drive of the season. Biggest drive of his career, essentially. And on the second play, interception. Terrible interception. Depending on what happens these final 2 games, Tua may wind up erasing all the goodwill that he created earlier in the season. And that's crazy when just 5 weeks ago, this team was competing for an for number 1 in the AFC, and Tua was a legitimate MVP candidate. It's crazy. It's crazy to think of it that way, how far we've come. But Dolphins playoff hopes, they're still in the Dolphins' hands. Win your final 2 games and you're in. And you may even be able to win next week and you're in. So essentially, what you're saying is, can you avoid a 6-game losing streak to make the playoffs? That's what we're talking about. If the Dolphins can avoid a 6-game losing streak, they're probably in the playoffs. But they still hold, you want to take the positive? It's hard to right now. I'm not confident. I think the Patriots suck. And the Jets, what have they lost? The Jets are 7-8. They've lost 5 of their last 6. These are 2 teams in a bad way. So are the Dolphins. Do any of these 3 teams in the AFCs want that final playoff spot? All 3 of these teams are in a bad way. So I think the Dolphins are going to win the final 2 games to do. But it's more so about, I think those other teams suck. More than, do I believe the Dolphins are going to show up big? Because you can't possibly believe that the Dolphins are going to show up big. 49ers, Chargers, Bills, now Packers. Those are good teams. Packers are hot. I don't know if they're good. But those are 4 teams where you got to show up big. Those teams don't suck. You got to show up big. And the Dolphins show up very small. So I don't have confidence that the Dolphins are going to show up big one of these final 2 games. My confidence is based on these teams suck. Patriots suck, we can win that game. Jets suck, we can win that game. That's what's based on. It's not based on the Dolphins. And I can't believe based on a team that was 8-3 and was competing for first place in the AFC, and their quarterback was a legitimate MVP candidate, our hopes of making the playoffs are not on this team coming up big. It's on, I believe that the other teams suck. What a turn to this season. What a turn. Now, how about this, though? For the 3rd consecutive game, the Dolphins gave up a huge momentum play at the end of the first half. This last play of the first half, literally no time left on the clock. Last play in the first half against the Chargers, touchdown. And the play before it, you remember, 3rd and goal from the 17. Huge momentum for the Chargers at the very end of the first half. The Bills, Josh Allen, time's running out. He almost runs out of bounds. Instead, finds the receiver in the back of the end zone. Touchdown. And now the score is, what did that make it? 21-13, I think it did at the time. Huge play. You stop them there. I mean, Dolphins ended up going up 29-21. Maybe it's 29-14 instead. Very end of the first half, huge play against the Dolphins. Touchdown Dolphins against them. And for the 3rd game in a row this week, late in the first half, Dolphins have the ball midfield. It wasn't with no time remaining, but it was late in the first half. And a game-changing play. Dolphins are ahead 20-10. They got the ball around midfield. Raheem Mostert fumble. So instead of getting some more points in a first half where your offense is red hot, you may go up 27-10 at halftime. But at the very least, you feel like you got a chance for 23-10. And instead it's 20-13 because the Packers capitalize, they get a field goal. You don't even score again. For the 3rd straight game, the Dolphins allow a huge momentum play for the opponent in 3 games that you felt like you definitely had a chance to win. It's a bad job. Late in the first half during this 4-game losing skid has been a killer for the Dolphins. And Mostert had a dog shit game. He was running the ball really well in the first half. Dolphins kind of abandoned the run for the rest of the game after that. But anyway, for the 3rd consecutive game, the Dolphins have a huge momentum play at the end of the first half from Mostert's fumble, who had a shit game. He had the fumble late in the half when the Dolphins were up 20-10. And then you had the miscue on Tua's second interception when the team was down 23-20. A terrible job by Mostert. Terrible job. I think you could probably expect to see a lot more Jeff Wilson next week. Terrible job by Mostert. I'm not going to say he cost the Dolphins the game, but he had 2 major miscues, which you could say played a major role in costing the Dolphins the game. Tua cost the Dolphins the game. 3 interceptions in the 4th quarter, no other way to look at it. Tua cost the Dolphins the game. But Mostert, I don't know if you're going to see him as much next week. I think you're going to get a healthy dose of Jeff Wilson. And now the Dolphin fans got a ton of doubt in Tua. I can't believe we're sitting here. Playoff hopes from the Dolphins' hands. but I can't believe we're sitting here reliving 1993, 9-2 to 9-7, missed the playoffs. Can't believe it. I mean, I was sending messages to my friends, Dolphins Super Bowl? And now they're 8. Who the hell would say that about a team that's 8-7? 8-7, such a shit record. Who the hell would say that? This guy. He's so stupid, this guy. This guy said it. Ah, man. All right. Anyway. We get to some Panthers and Heat stuff. I'm feeling terrible, man. But I'm feeling terrible about the Dolphins. If you're feeling terrible because you're sick, you gotta call Doctors on Call 365. Doctors on Call 365 is South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. They treat children, adults, elderly, minor illnesses, minor injuries. You need IV fluid, vitamin therapy. They'll test you for COVID, for flu, for strep. They'll draw blood, refill prescriptions for you. It's so convenient because Dr. Alon and his team at Doctors on Call 365, they will come to your home, they'll come to your office, wherever you're at. They will treat you where you are. You don't have to call up your doctor. You try and make an appointment. All right, we can see you in 2 weeks. No, I got 103 fever. I need to see you now. Doctors on Call 365 is treating you in your home. Now, there's self-pay. You got Medicare acceptance on the way soon. Private insurance acceptance is coming as well. But you go to an emergency room these days, you go to the urgent care, you're going to have to wait forever, and your copay, you're going to wind up paying more out of pocket than you would in the comfort of your home, being seen in the comfort of your home. They're based in Broward County, serving Miami-Dade and Southern Palm Beach as well. Doctors on Call 365.com. Call today, 786-577-9302. I've used them twice in the last month or so. It's so convenient, and for me, you can't put a price on convenience. Doctors on Call 365.com, 786-577-9302. All right. Man, you know what I did? I'll tell you what I did do this weekend. On Saturday night, I watched The Batman. Now, I've seen The Batman before. You know, the one that Matt Reeves directed, the new one with Robert Pattinson. But my older son, had never seen The Batman. I was like, let's watch The Batman tonight. So we watched The Batman on Saturday night, and I liked it better the second time. I was like, he loved it. He's not really so into the superhero movies, but because he says the good guys always win. Hey, my son's a little bit of a bad guy. But he liked The Batman a lot. It's super dark, and it's not a superhero movie, The Batman. It's a crime drama. I think the best way to describe it is, it's the movie Seven, but with Batman. That's what it is. It's Seven, but with Batman. So my son loved it. And I liked it fine enough the first time I saw it. I liked it more this time. I did. Because it's long. Maybe just being in the comfort of my home. But I liked it even more this time around. Talk about long movies. So I'm going to have to go see Avatar: Way of the Water. Even though I've never seen the first one. We're going to watch the first one first. I tried watching the first one, many years ago. It didn't do anything for me. I couldn't get through it. Like 30 minutes in, I can't do this. I don't like this movie. But I'm going to watch it again. My younger son wants to see it. So we're going to watch that. And then, I don't know. I may have to convince him to wait until this movie comes out, like on Disney Plus or HBO Max or whatever it is, because it's almost 4 hours long. I think it's 3 hours and 40 minutes, this Avatar 2, Way of the Water. James Cameron, what are you doing? With the way our society functions now, and look, it's not a good thing, but you can't ask people to sit in the theater for 3 hours and 40 minutes anymore. Like, our society doesn't do that anymore. And I know, but visually it's so beautiful, 3D. I don't want to do 3D because I suffer from vertigo and I'm a puke, but you got the 3D, and I know people dig that. 3 hours and 40 minutes is way too long. I may have to convince my son, can we watch this when it comes out at home? It's too long. So I'm trying to avoid that scenario, but I watched The Batman this weekend. That was the highlight of my week. Oh, you had a lot of NBA yesterday, too. I'll give you a quick rundown of what took place NBA Christmas Day, because after the Dolphin game, maybe you're like, I can't do any more sports today. And the other two games, which we'll get to our NFL rundown coming up in a couple minutes here, but the other two games, Bucks and Cardinals last night. Who the hell cares? And Rams and Broncos. It's the Nickelodeon broadcast. Maybe you're into that, but otherwise, who the hell cares? So NBA Christmas yesterday. Sixers beat the Knicks. You had Joel Embiid. He had 35. James Harden seems to be heating up. You got a James Harden story, which I'll get to coming up in big deal, not a big deal. Mavericks beat the Lakers. Luka Doncic, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. The Lakers are here on Wednesday. Celtics crushed the Bucks, 139-118. Tatum at 41. The Warriors beat the Grizzlies. A lot of trash talking between those teams. I dig it. We'll get to that in big deal, not a big deal as well. And you had the Nuggets top the Suns 128-125. Jokic, this was a late game, so maybe you didn't see this. Excuse me. Nikola Jokic, 41 points, 15 rebounds, 15 assists. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So that was your NBA yesterday. The Heat are back in action tonight. They're going to try and win a game on the homestand. Yeah, see if they can pull out a win on the homestand. Yeah, see if they can do that. That's tonight against Minnesota. No Karl Anthony Towns. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, they're questionable. We'll get back to that because, man, was I pissed with them on Friday night. And then you got the Panthers. I mean, the only thing Panther fan wants for Christmas is past now. You didn't get your gift. The only thing the Panther fan wanted for Christmas is to wake up and Paul Maurice was sent packing. And unless I missed the memo, he's still the coach. He's the murderer of fun. He sucks. And that team sucks. Panthers suck. They're back to just being Florida Panthers. Miserable franchise. Embarrassment. We had a fun 2 years. That's what it was. We'll get back to them. But right now, let's get to our Week 16 NFL rundown. That's right. Week 16 NFL rundown. A ton of action took place. And our NFL rundown is always brought to us by Brunt Insurance. BruntInsurance.com. From Pensacola to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services delivers comprehensive insurance and financial solutions tailored to your needs. They specialize in home, auto, life insurance. You can find them on Twitter, on Facebook, all the social media, at Brunt Insurance. Look, the market's confusing. You need help, okay? You can't just go all willy-nilly, I'll get this insurance. No, let Brunt Insurance sort it all out for you. Fully licensed staff. They know the area. Like I told you, we're talking North Florida all the way down to South Florida. So wherever you are, they're going to set you up with the insurance that's right for you. You got to make sure that you're protected. Brunt Insurance have been protecting my home for about 10 years now. I've had my homeowner's insurance through them. So I know, God forbid something happens, Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they're looking out for me, all right? You got to make sure you're taken care of. So if you're looking for affordable care that offers you the best coverage, your home, your auto, your motorcycle, your bike, whatever, all right? Let Brunt Insurance help you learn more about your policy options. You stay informed, make the best decision possible so that they keep you up at night so you're not worried about it, all right? At Brunt Insurance on social media, BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. That's 954-589-2204. Let's get at it here. We'll start things off. It was a full slate on Saturday, of course, a game the Dolphin fan was keeping an eye on. The Buffalo Bills. It was a close game in the first half, but the Bills ended up trashing Chicago 35-13. Buffalo 12-3, still first place in the AFC. The Bears dropped to 3-12. Josh Allen, he's not having a great season. 15 for 26, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Devin Singletary had 106 yards rushing and a touchdown. The Saints, they beat the Browns 17-10. Excuse me. Both teams now 6-9. Alvin Kamara, if you're looking out for the fantasy football playoffs all over the place. Kamara had 20 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 34 yards. Deshaun Watson, 15 for 31, 135 yards and an interception. And can I say again here real quick, I made this point last week. Deshaun Watson's been back now, 3-4 games, and he's been stunningly mediocre, which is not a surprise. Because he hadn't played in a year and a half. I don't ever want to hear Colin Kaepernick again. You can talk about Kaepernick and all the good stuff that he's doing off the field. I don't want to hear about Kaepernick. Some team should call Colin Kaepernick when they need a quarterback. Kaepernick hasn't played in 6 years. And when both of them were in their prime, Kaepernick can't hold Deshaun Watson's jock. Watson is an elite quarterback, and he has only missed a year and a half, and he is stunningly mediocre right now with the Browns. Kaepernick would be so bad if he started playing football again right now. I don't want to hear Colin Kaepernick ever mentioned again as far as coming back and playing for a team that needs a quarterback. It's so stupid. All right, anyway. The Chiefs beat the Seahawks 24-10. They are now still second at 12-3 in the AFC. The Seahawks are 7-8. They had a nice run. It was a fun little first half of the season for the Seahawks. They're crashing back down to earth. Geno Smith was 25 for 40, 215 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Pat Mahomes, 16 for 28, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce had 6 catches for 113 yards. The Vikings improved to 12-3 with a 27-24 win over the Giants. Late field goal, great game. The Giants dropped to 8-6-1. Cousins was 34 for 48 for 299 and 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson is now the single-season record holder for the Vikings. 12 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, great in-season trade for the Vikings. 13 catches for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Huge for the fantasy football owner there. The Cincinnati Bengals, they were up 22-0 in this game. They had to hang on 22-18 over the Patriots. The Bengals win. They improved to 11-4. The Patriots drop to 7-8. Their playoff hopes are on life support now. They have to beat the Dolphins this weekend. Joe Burrow, 40 of 52, 375, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. T. Higgins, 8 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown. Mac Jones, he sucks. 21 for 33. He had 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. And not only was there a play on an interception return where he committed a dirty block way behind the play. There's no reason for it. Committed a dirty block trying to take out the player's knees. I think it was Eli Apple. But he was also flagged for a roughing penalty when there was a pylon with a turnover. Mac Jones is a dirty player. I mean, this has happened several times this year. He's the Grayson Allen of the NFL, Mac Jones. He's a dirty player. So the Chiefs, the Bengals, they are now still third in the AFC. They're a game up on Baltimore as far as that AFC North goes. The Panthers, how about the Panthers? In contention in that division, they are. Panthers win 37-23 against the Lions. Very damaging loss for Detroit. Panthers are 6-9. They're a game back in the NFC South. The Lions dropped to 7-8. They are still on the outside looking. They still had a chance in the playoffs, but they would have been in the playoff picture had they beaten Carolina. Sam Darnold was 15 for 22, 250 and a touchdown. He had 19 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground. Devontae Foreman, 165 and a touchdown on the ground. Jared Goff, comeback player of the year, Jared Goff, 25 for 42, 355 yards and 3 touchdowns. In a terrible game, the Ravens beat the Falcons 17-9. The Ravens are 10-5. They are the number 5 seed in the AFC. The Falcons dropped to 5-10. There was nothing with fantasy football implications going on there. The Texans get their second win of the season. They beat the Titans 19-14. They do the Jaguars a solid there. The Texans are now 2-12-1. The Titans dropped to 7-8. Derrick Henry, 23 rushes for 126 yards and a touchdown. The Titans have now dropped out of the playoff picture after spending most of the year in the top 4. The 49ers, a 37-20 win over the Commanders. The Niners are 11-4. They are third in the NFC still. Commanders dropped to 7-1. They're holding on to the final wild card spot. Brock Purdy keeps doing it, man. 15 for 22, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. George Kittle, huge for the fantasy football owner. 6 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys beat the Eagles 40-34. It was Minshew Mania, but the Cowboys improved to 11-4. The Eagles, they dropped to 13-2. Dak Prescott, 27 for 35, 347 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception. CeeDee Lamb, one of the best receivers in the NFL. 10 catches for 120, 2 touchdowns. Minshew was 24 for 40, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Devontae Smith, 8 catches for 113 and 2 touchdowns. Great game. The Cowboys, they're 4th. They're going to finish 4th most likely. And the Eagles, they dropped to 13-2. So they still need to win some games here to clinch number 1 because Minnesota is now just 1 game back. The Steelers beat the Raiders on a last-second touchdown from Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. The Steelers 7-8. And now if they keep winning and they win their final 2, you keep that streak alive for Mike Tomlin of never finishing under 500. The fact that the Steelers are 7-8, you know, I know Mike Tomlin gets a lot of shit. He's a really good coach, Mike Tomlin. The Raiders dropped to 6-9. Kenny Pickett was 26 for 39, 244 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. On Nickelodeon, The Rams crushed the Broncos 51-14. The Rams 5-10, the Broncos 4-11. Baker Mayfield 24 for 28, 230 and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Higbee 9 catches, 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson was 15-27 for 214 yards, a touchdown and 3 interceptions. They owe him like $200 million. Oh my God. And finally, the Bucs last night, Sunday Night Football, they beat the Cardinals in overtime. They come from behind 19-16. You got a touchdown and a field goal late. The Bucs were down 16-6. They come all the way back in the fourth quarter. They win it in overtime. The Bucs now still leading that NFC South at 7-8. They're a game up on Carolina. Cardinals dropped to 4-11. Tom Brady, 32 for 48. He had a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Leonard Fournette, 20 carries for 72 yards, 9 catches for 90 yards. And that right there is your Week 16 NFL Rundown.